So the problem is that I have done so much research that now I don't know what to do. Oh, hello. I'm so happy to have you here with me. My name is Amy, and I need your help with something. As I've kind of mentioned on here, I am going to be just making a lot of big changes in my life. Some are because I have to, and some are me just really making the most out of the season I'm in and really just deciding to live in my absolute highest alignment and tune into what that feels like for me and really live from that space. But there are a few aspects of that I'm having a hard time with, and I know that part of this is because it's just so much at once that I'm having a hard time being able to find that clarity on so many things at once. I know that sometimes it's very much about if I don't have any answer, I need to just pause and not do anything. And so that is what I am doing on one of these specific topics, but I wanted to get your input. One of the things I'm considering doing, I've always wanted to do this, is getting an RV and living a nomadic life. Now, there are so many other layers to this. I will still have a home. I will just most likely not be the one living in it. So I am looking for something that will allow me to have that freedom for a couple of years perhaps. But okay, let me get to a few specifics. If you have an RV, if you have a van, whatever your experience is, or maybe you did and you don't have it, or you've rented them a few times, I am curious to know your experience. What I've narrowed down is that Class C are really great for safety. And that is what I was completely focused on for a while. But the reason that I don't want this is because I don't want to only have a Class C as my vehicle, because that's not what I want as a daily driver. And I am not in a situation, and I don't have enough experience with this to know that this is what I'm going to want to do long enough to make that worth it. The current car that I have is not towable and cannot tow, at least not enough. That's completely out of the question. I have also ruled out vans, even though I love looking at them, and I would be open to an older Class B that has a little bit more space in it. But again, I don't really want to go with the motorized one at the moment. I've ruled out Class Bs because for the exact same reason as Class Cs, also because of the price point. As much as they're desirable, I just know that that is probably not going to be the best thing for me as my first experience with this. So if you have any thoughts on this, feel free to share already with what I've said. But I do feel that having a vehicle that can tow and then a trailer is going to be my best option, because this allows me to get a vehicle right now that I can use as my daily driver, for the next few years, whether I am at my home or on the road, but that I don't have to feel like every time I'm going to a new destination or a day trip or something like that, I have to pack up everything. When I'm traveling, I know I'm the kind of person who is going to want to do some day trips, go check out the local coffee shops, things like that, and I do not want to have to pack up everything. I also know that just my personality type is one that I am not going to be moving every few days. I'm going to want to kind of experience a place and be there long enough that I set up a little even outdoor living space as well. So that is also a huge reason why I want to do a trailer. And when I say trailer, travel trailer, anything I'm towing. I think that so many people feel this way, but I do not want a full-size truck as my tow vehicle. But last night I went to this RV show and went into a lot of the travel trailers that would be in the weight limit that I'd be looking at that would allow me to not get such a big vehicle. Now I'm in this place of, gosh, I don't know if that's really, if I want something quite that small that I'm going to be working in and living in for at least like a month or two at a time, especially because I'll have my dog with me who is pretty big, and I just felt so bad thinking about being in there on a rainy day or a few rainy days in a row, let's say, and not being able to throw a ball around for him. He doesn't need that much space, but that's the stuff that I think when it's actually happening, I'm going to wish I had that space. So even a trailer that I've been looking at around 20 feet, but even a few of those that have the slide outs, I think could be appropriate for us right now in this season. But I know that puts me into a different weight class. That would mean I probably need to get a full-size truck. Something else I was told last night was that any vehicles that are not American made are not good to get to tow because their electrical wires and things are set up differently. And so if it doesn't already have the tow package and everything set up, then a lot of these dealers are not going to set everything up for you. But if I bought an American vehicle, then I would be able to have all of that done for me before I even leave the dealership with a trailer. There is only one car on my list that is American made that I'm curious about. I've been driving Subarus. I love them. My only Ford was a Lemon. I've also lived in the Detroit area for a lot of my life. Everybody has Ford, GM, Chevy, and in my experience, just cars made elsewhere. This is not to say anything is good or bad, but a lot of car quality tends to last so much longer when you're getting something like a Toyota, Subaru, Honda, something like that. I would love to also hear what are some of the vehicles you've towed with that you love. I know that the Audi Q7, I believe, can tow, I think 7,000 pounds. Oh my gosh, that would be amazing. Not that I'm trying to get an Audi brand new because that is not in my budget, but some of the used ones seem to really drop quite a bit in price. Does that reflect quality though? Does that mean there's a little bit of a problem? So as you can see, there is no organization to this because in my mind, there are just a million different things going through and so many thoughts like this because I might end up staying in my home for a little while, fixing it up and not needing to buy a trailer right away or having enough space that I rent that out as when I'm not using it and I want to have space for that. But again, this is all why I want to get a vehicle that is not necessarily a huge full-size truck. The one that I do really like, although I haven't actually test driven it yet, is the Chevy Silverado. I just like the look of it. I like what I've heard about Chevy so far. If you have experience with this, please let me know. I would not do anything more than, I believe it's what, a quarter or half ton. I wouldn't do dualies, nothing like that. It's me and my dog, so I am not interested in that because I also want to be able to drive my drivable vehicle, my daily driver, to these places when I'm exploring, and I just don't want to be driving such a big vehicle in cities if I'm ever in them, and I don't want to pay gas for something like that. So please enlighten me. I have seen some people towing with like the Hyundai Santa Fe and the Honda has a truck. And now these are not my top choice vehicles at all. But if I could tow with them and know that they're going to be quality and last me a while and kind of do what I need them to do without also losing every feature that seems to happen if you get a regular sized truck. They come with 0 features unless you're paying like 80 grand. It seems crazy. So this is all news to me since I've only driven SUVs really. Also, if there is an SUV that you recommend, but one of the things I've also noticed in my research is that a lot of them are very overpriced that are tow vehicles because people like me are looking for them. So I don't want to get something that is used, that I can't get a warranty on anymore, that yes, might be a great price point out the door, but I'd really like whatever I'm towing with to be something I can depend on for a few years. So this is kind of just like a RV therapy session right now. I appreciate you listening. I appreciate us just being in this space for a moment because it's allowing me to kind of get all of my millions of thoughts out on this. And I would really like your input if you have any suggestions on any aspects of this. Vehicles you would recommend, trailers you would recommend, definitely around 20-ish feet. I really like what I see about casitas, trailers like that, but again, that feels like maybe it'd be a little too small. And unfortunately, they didn't have any last night at the RV show for me to actually look at. And yes, ideally, an Airstream would be like my dream. I love the vibe and the feel. But again, budget is super important to me right now, because a huge reason I'm doing this is so that I can ultimately be working for myself, and I don't want the stress of finances to get in the way of that right now. If you have experience with this, I feel like I don't really have to ask more questions, because I think that you've probably done all this research too, and you know what this feels like and kind of the overwhelm and analysis paralysis that happens with all of this. And I also know that some of this I'm not going to have a solid answer for myself on of what my preferences are for any of this until I have experience with it. And so that is where I'm going to find some surrender. But I also want to make sure that as I'm making these decisions, whether it is to finally buy that tow vehicle that I have been researching for over a year now, or an RV, I can have a good idea and not go into it completely unaware. You know, any just great basic tips from people who have been doing this and have experience with this. So thank you so much for listening and for being here. And there are so many adventures I'm going to be going on, and I'm so excited about it. And I'm going to be taking you along with me. But right now I'm just trying to sort it all out and organize it. But yes, this is one of the ways that this is likely unfolding for me. So thank you in advance for all of your suggestions. And if you are interested in more in coming along on my adventures with me, please subscribe, and I will talk to you next time. Bye.